What is going on? I'm Zedmont, and we have a lot to cover. So first things first, code Zedmont in all Supercell sources. Greatly appreciated if this brings you any info at all. So notice there is still confetti in the air. Your time is running out to get those boom boxes if you want them. Got a video on that. Go check it out. Also, do make sure you keep attacking things to get those clues moving. Got a video on that as well. Now, right about now, we have the anniversary Mega Crab, which Mega Crab always a fan favorite. Now, but there is a second crab coming towards the end of the month, so I kind of assume that's why they wanted to have Rudy take a little while to get, so that you push to get him for that second crab. So do get those clues moving, and if you need details, guess what? Got a video on that as well. So I am upgrading my rocket choppers steadily. Spent a couple diamonds to get them up. Currently, we're moving towards rank 13, I think, something along those lines. And one of the things I'd really like the dev team to add is this right here. Every single time I have an upgrade, I have to go back into my vault to see how many attack plans I have. And I don't know if you guys noticed that or not, but I just added that little teeny tiny icon down the bottom right there that shows how many attack plans you have. Super simple. You can see how many diamonds you have, you can see how many time skips you have, but you can't see how many attack plans, so you don't know if you want to spend them or you want to wait. Also, obviously, I would like the ability to just hold this button down or to skip an hour at a time or something like that. So what I've been doing is just using my time skips to get the diamond rate to a reasonable level and then using diamonds. What that reasonable level is, I couldn't tell you, but generally below 300 or so is what I've been doing. And that way I can get my rocket choppers going to level 15. Not willing to just diamond spend all the way through, but am using my resources because every time I go through this resource boat, which has 232 million gold in it, which, by the way, I also have a video on that, don't want those resources to be stolen. So I am using those attack plans and those blueprints right now, and same detail for this. I would love to be able to see the number of blueprints available, and you can see that I used some previously, and so we're just gonna click that button right there, and then you know what, let's use the blueprint. And those numbers are not accurate. I am sitting at 6 blueprints and 4 attack plans, so probably gonna burn a bunch of those while keeping a couple for Rudy, of course. The submarine is here. Gonna pick up those free trader crates. And now with this update came a bunch of new bugs, features, whatever the heck you want to call them. Do be aware that if you run into a damage amplifier, which I can't show you because there's no damage amplifier in my weapon lab, whatever the heck that is, it shows an extra health. That extra health is just visual. Don't worry, you can check using an artillery and it answers itself pretty quickly. Rocket choppers and operations are definitely affected. We'll do a quick operation attack just so we can talk about that. And what we're going to do is drop bullet on Fang and we'll take down Fang, hopefully. So what has happened is when you drop critters, they now are seen instantly by defenses. Before, they had to like bounce and then they were visible, and that has caused some definite issues. There's also some pathing issues with flares, so some weirdness most definitely. And we're gonna go 1, 2, 3 here because I have no idea how wide my rocket choppers are gonna go, and then we're gonna come back into here perhaps and flare onto there with some critters that are going to bounce and cause problems, and then bullets going to pop out, and we're going to have all of our taunt happening with our level 15 rocket choppers, which should take this down without a heck of a lot of difficulty. But you're noticing as I start to sweat a little bit here that rocket choppers definitely don't have the oomph that Zookas have. So there are a couple different attacks that you can use them for. That was a little bit nerve-wracking, to be completely honest. But overall, rocket choppers just coming in very balanced. It's kind of like hitting operations with riflemen or something like that. I definitely do deploy them to clear things like shock launchers or mortars at shore because they are not visible to those troops. But gonna have to plan a little bit. Things like Centaur, Minotaur, very, very primed for rocket choppas. Now, onto the Mega Crab side of things. You guys have probably seen the new building. I have not done much with it, but this surprise cake back here, every single time it has been a surprise, it has been a Super Warrior for me. Don't know if that actually... Oh, there we go. We got something different. Look at that. We got... I don't even know what that is, to be completely honest. Is that just a random medic? That is the first time that I have gotten anything but a Super Warrior, so do play a little bit of crab, have a look at that super new building, and let me know what you end up getting, because suddenly we've got a medic popping out, and I don't recall ever seeing that medic before, so a little bit different, most definitely. What these medics are, I couldn't tell you, but there are some different things in those cakes. I'm sure there's some videos out there. I definitely need to spend a little bit of time on this, but really, really do love the new twist they've put on the Mega Crab as far as bringing in, and there's a flying critter bat as well, so getting different things popping out of those cakes. One thing to be aware of as you're rushing through all of these upgrades, and I have to give a big shout out here to Dell on Discord, giving all the details about the training camp. I love this about the Boom Beach community, just getting all of the goods. So if you train, and this was one of the complaints from people in my comments, they're saying that the training grounds are not good for people without instant training. Well, all you have to do is load 3 of these boats. Just change your Zookas to heavies. You need 3 heavies and 3 rifles, and you can easily and quickly get 220 time savers. Go up here to the training grounds. You don't actually have to use those troops. All you're doing is sending barrages, clicking that 3 times mode, and it takes a couple minutes, and you're going to get 220 speed ups, which is a giant help for all players of all levels, especially right about now when you're upgrading your rocket choppas or preparing to upgrade Rudy or getting all that crab loot. So don't have to drop any troops. All of these training grounds are super easy. It just takes a little bit of time, and you're going to have yourself with 220 time skips. So just jumping through the hoops, dropping the artillery, hitting that 3 times mode button, and Bob is your uncle, and Bob is a generous dude. So clearing through all of these things, and like I said, no troops required. It says you're supposed to use flares, it says you're supposed to do things, but as a higher level, you just use your artillery and away you go. So I kind of hope they tie that a little bit so that you actually have to use the troops and maybe remove things like artillery, but that might be difficult for low levels as well. So free loot is always good loot, and right about now with the Mega Crab and our good friend Captain Rdero, and you'll notice that those training grounds don't actually appear to help towards finding clues, but one of the really good things about those clues is that you end up not having to reset your timer to 24 hours every day. A bunch of you have pointed out the fact that the timer is actually based on when you got your first clue. I don't know how that would work if you end up getting 24 hours overlapping times 2, but we are just going to drop our troops, 0 thought, 0 process, and then just walk through most of this base, hopefully. Not doing a fantastic job here under any circumstances, but we should just be able to barrage down all of the things and getting a little bit lucky there. So definitely not how I recommend attacking, but 3 times mode with people on YouTube works sometimes as well, and do keep an eye out. I know today is Imitation Game, which is not super duper enjoyable, but tomorrow the new event starts, so do consider logging in tomorrow and getting going on Dr. T. Dr. T bringing a new leaderboard experience to the game, which I don't know how exciting that's going to be. I know a lot of players are just going to keep resetting to value level 26 because some players just want that free loot so they can get their upgrades going. Let me know in the comments what you plan to do. I know there are a lot of players out there that love pushing the leaderboards as well, and we have yet to get that next clue. Sometimes you have to attack as many as 7 things based on my limited experiences, but we only have 2 rocket choppers. This is not a great attack strategy, and do know that the delay is being lost by your landing crafts being seen by rockets or something, and I don't know how many of these things are bugs and how many of these things are features and how many of these things will be fixed by random maintenance breaks. I honestly, right about now is that time where the devs are just running their pants off, and that was an awkward saying. I'm just trying to get things fixed and doing triage and all of the rest of it. So I like to give the devs a bit of a break right about now, probably more than most of you do. But overall, I do like this update. I think it's going to be a lot more obvious how good this update is as some of those new behind the scenes things they've added in the background start to come out. And I know that they had, I believe, intended to have the Dr. T event right off the get-go, but it's kind of neat how we're getting layers of this update bit by bit. We're going to get the Dr. T thing tomorrow, we're going to get Rdero the day after, and I'm a little bit nervous about getting Dr. T because, warning, Dr. T in my limited dev build testing was not giving guaranteed crystals on stage 6 and 7 anymore, which might just cause a bit of a riot by the longtime players, because when Imitation Game came out, for example, players were not terribly happy about the fact that they lost those guaranteed extra crystals from getting Dr. T a couple extra times. You used to get Dr. T twice every 6 days, and then they moved it to twice every 7 days, which reduced the amount of powder people were getting. So going to be very interesting to see how that whole thing comes into play and if they've fixed that or if that's intended. So a new update, definitely some new things happening here. Don't really know how it's all going to shake out, but let's just send some critters over here. I probably should try to actually pay attention to one of these attacks at some point in the day, because there are some neat things you can do with rocket choppers, and mixing them with heavies and rifles is definitely not the answer. So let's get back to 3 times mode, see if we can't just walk through this base and get this thing down slowly but surely. Definitely max level rocket choppers will be a good time, but for the second, and by the way, max for the rocket choppers is level 27. Come on. There we go. We got bullet. And this is something that I missed in my sneak peek. The clue is given to you by the hero that you have active. So on the dev build, I only ever had Brick, and then yesterday I got Everspark, and today we're getting Bullet. So we have gotten that new clue, and if we jump back into here, notice that it's 21 hours instead of 24 hours, which is pretty darn nice. You don't have to rush when you log in to go do those attacks. You can do your operation attack or warship attack or whatever the heck it might be. And speaking of operation attacks, let's do something a little bit silly. So what I'm going to do is drop Mr. Bullet up front, get some Scorchers to try to give us a little bit of a shield, and then we're going to flare over into there, hoping that those guys do stay in front of my rocket choppers. And then once we get in that corner, maybe, just maybe, we can send them all the way back into there with some critters and Mr. Bullet trying desperately to keep up with a med kit in the corner, of course, because Rocket Chopper's not having a ton of health, let's be honest here, with some more critters and maybe a shock, because they're going to be very close to not making it past as we lose a Scorcher. Again, this is not a great idea. This is just me trying to figure out things that we can do with Rocket Choppers. So let's get a shock on those rocket launchers, and then we should, in theory, be able to get all of this stuff down with maybe, just maybe, one more shock. That rocket launcher might just destroy all of our rocket choppers as we start to lose troops. And now we have a slim shot of pulling off this solo. It's going to be very, very, very ugly, and definitely not something that I recommend anyone trying. But if we get these guys back into this neighborhood, they should stay mostly out of range of those machine guns, and then our Scorchers and Bullets should move forward, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be out of range of some of this stuff. Like I said, not going to be super duper ideal as far as any sort of plan. And hopefully that sniper tower doesn't. Yeah, there we go. That's exactly what I thought might just happen. And now we are in a little tiny free snipe spot, maybe? This is where just trying things out doesn't usually go quite so well as one would hope. I swear I saw a little tiny kill spot back there, but it looks like that sniper tower is going to completely and utterly ruin my attack. So definitely looking for spots where things like shock, like typically if that was a Zuka, that shock launcher would be destroying our troops. So there are definitely going to be some very cool operation attacks that are going to come out of having rocket choppers on the main base. Also, Captain Rdero will make rocket choppers stronger once he comes out. And I feel like that might be part of the plan as well. Just on warships, Rdero with rocket choppers is a great bit of fun, but you know what? Why am I even bothering with that? We should have just flared right there, and there is the free snipe spot that I was thinking about, but as you can see, lost way too many rocket choppers in the process. So if you want to solo Paradox using rocket choppers, you definitely want to get rid of that sniper tower right there to give yourself a little teeny tiny bit more room. There is some very cool things with rocket choppers coming, but sadly I have failed to show you one of them. And I do very much enjoy seeing rocket launchers and boom cannons and shock launchers just sitting there doing nothing. Love me a free snipe, but I just failed miserably on this one. So definitely some interesting bits to come from the rocket choppers. Also, I mean, this update is not huge, but there are a couple bugs, so do give some patience. Realize that tomorrow when Dr. T comes is going to be a Saturday, and I myself do not like working on Saturdays, so they're... Ooh, remastered. Yes, no need to get crabby. Yes, you did not center on the crabs. A little bit wonky there. There we go. There we go. Centered on the crab. So do keep playing those beaches, booming the things, and let me know if you run into bugs, issues, things you like, and things I haven't covered. There are guaranteed to be things that I have not covered. That is a given. I often miss things, but my commenters and the Discords and the YouTubes and the Twitters are very, very good about pointing things out. And I feel like that free trader crate has gone away, maybe? Okay, nope, I was wrong. So the free trader crate is definitely still there. That is a very, very good thing. Had me a little teeny tiny bit worried, most definitely, but that's just me. And that's what happens a lot of times with these updates. People say things have changed, but they haven't. And so do let me know, but know that you might have overlooked something, much like I just did. Anyways, that's all for me. Fairly quick video today. I know it's Friday and all the boom and the crab and the flying choppers and all the things, but have covered lots in my previous videos, so do go check those out if you haven't already. Anyways, I'm Zedmont. I got my birthday hat on because it is the weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming in. Peace.